everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the New Girls page. My name is 16 and I am the founder of the team. I'm so happy to be on with you right now. As you know, we are celebrating our 4th year. Actually, we celebrated on June 2nd, and I want to take a few minutes to talk about what got us here, the team culture. And I think it's very important because I am proud of this culture, and it is something that very early on, actually at the beginning, when we founded the team, it was something that we really deemed vital to our success very early on. So I want to take some time to talk about it. So if you're tuned in with me right now, please say hi and tell me where you're watching from so that I can greet you, because I love greeting our viewers. But before I get started with anything, let me just share this live broadcast on my profile and my other fan pages, because I really think this is going to motivate and inspire a lot of people. So if you know anyone who is in need of some motivation or inspiration tonight or today, depends on where you're watching from, share it with them. There's a share button down below, and you can either share it to your chat groups or share the link to people that you know. Hi, Iveta from Prague. Alicia is watching. Irene is watching from Kuala Lumpur. Yel is watching from Lucena in the Philippines. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you. We're talking team culture today, leadership qualities that I have observed that didn't necessarily, we really didn't do that on purpose. It actually stems from being self-aware and knowing what's best for the team and mutual respect. So let me go and share this, and then we'll begin. But like I said, if you are tuned in, please say hi, send some hearts, tell me where you're watching from, or if you're watching the replay, because a lot of people here would like to watch the replay, do hashtag replay and I'll greet you in the comments. Thank you for spending your time tonight with us. Hi Ross, thank you for tuning in. Evelyn, thank you for tuning in. Anna Rose, Alicia, hello. Oh, thank you, Veta. Esther is watching us. So, almost done here, you guys. I really think, especially if you are leading a sales team, coaching a bunch of people, that you're going to find this valuable. And I'm going to share the major principle as to why we're talking about culture tonight and why it warrants a full broadcast on culture. And I hope you learn from it. Okay, almost done here. Give me 5 seconds here. Yay! Okay, guys. So, I really believe when I started in the direct selling business, which was in 2011, that culture is vital. And I saw this somewhere, I read this somewhere before, I just forget who wrote it, that culture is vital to strategy. It's so important in your strategy in that culture is the strategy. The reason why a team withstands difficulty, challenges, is because they like being in a team. They belong in an environment that accepts them despite mistakes, despite failures. They belong in a healthy environment that allows them to breathe and allows them to be the creative person that they are, the independent thinker that they are. So culture matters to strategy so much in that culture is the strategy. So especially if you're leading a team and you're not paying attention to what your culture and what proliferates within the team, then and you notice that a lot more people start to quit, a lot more people start to bash each other, pull each other down, then this is something that you might want to pay attention to. What examples do you set so that you develop and breed healthy culture? Now, opening up my notes here, that's why I'm looking towards this way so that I don't miss anything here, because I'm about to share maybe 6 leadership qualities or values that we implement within the New Girls team that allow us the growth and that brought us to the success that we currently have. Evelyn is watching from Dumaguete. Robert is here. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you. So first, I want to point out that the team knows the value of doing what it takes. So this is very first. And this doing what it takes, I find that the start of a team's breakdown, the breakdown of morale, teams starting to not achieve their targets, starting to get discouraged a little bit, is when their mentor or their leader starts making excuses and starts blaming other factors, like other people or situations or things, for not being able to achieve their targets. And I wasn't able to hit my volumes this month because she or so and so wasn't able to sell, or my team chat isn't active, or not enough people are doing their jobs. And I often get this, and what I ask these people is, what, of course, sure, the team isn't as active as it used to be, but what are you doing on your own? What are you doing as the leader? How do you set an example based on your results? What results do you generate so that they get inspired by it? And often I hear that their daily activity isn't what it used to be as well. So giving away your power and blaming other people doesn't really show that you value hustle. So you hear us say that a lot. Hustle means just working hard, knowing the value of hard work. So doing what it takes is also, I want to point this out, it's also different from doing your best. Do you say that a lot? Like, who here says that a lot? I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best. Like, what's your goal? Yeah, I'm going to do my best to achieve that this month. I'm going to do my best to achieve that this week. And, if you say that a lot, that's good. But there is a difference between doing your best versus doing what it takes. So in the business, in the team, there are rankings. There are what we call pin titles, where people get promoted to brand representative, to brand partners, brand directors, and of course there is the highest, the pinnacle of the compensation plan, which is presidential director. And if someone has the goal of earning 6 figures and becoming an executive brand director, and they say, well, I'll do my best, and my best is giving this business 30 minutes a day, right? I have the job as a mentor of being realistic about their goals versus the kind of time they can put in, or they allow themselves to put in. And quite honestly, if your goal is to make 6 figures and to be at the topmost in the tiers, that's going to take a lot more than 30 minutes a day. That might be your best, but that's not what it takes. And what it takes is probably a couple more hours, 2 hours in your day. There's a lot of things that you can do within 2 hours. There's a lot of people you can talk to within 2 hours. So realistically, your best might not be what it takes. So you have to assess. Maybe I've been watching too much TV. Maybe I've been prioritizing my social life a lot more. Maybe I've been going on too many trips. Then you start to sacrifice your luxuries so that you can achieve this big goal that you have, because it all boils down to what your priority is. And so there's the difference. So if you find yourself saying, I'll do my best, really think about what that is. So another thing I want to ask you is, if you do what it takes, how do you show the people around you, the people that you work with, especially if you're a team leader or a mentor to other people, how do you breed this type of culture of them knowing the difference, not blaming others and not making excuses, instead doing what it takes? How do you set an example so that they do it, right? Hey everybody, thanks to our latest viewers. I can see y'all. Hi Carol, thanks for tuning in. Where are you tuning in from? Hi Nams. Hi Roan is watching from Nagcarlan, Laguna. Thank you so much. You know, something that I skipped, by the way, in the beginning of this broadcast, I was afraid it was going to take a long time, but something that I skipped is taking you down memory lane. In celebration of the 4th year, culture really is one of the things that my best friend and I, Z, who is also the co-founder of NuGirls's, something that she and I had a real deep conversation about for at least a few weeks, promising each other, swearing to each other that we were never going to fight. We were never going to let money or success or popularity or this business get in the way of us being good people to each other, kind people to others, and being respectful of people around us. So you can see that culture really is the core of who we are, and it is never going to be compromised in the name of money or success or popularity in this business. And that's, you know, if you see people here abnormally, like I sometimes I get that, like, it's like you love each other too much. It's like abnormal to other people how the team is so affectionate with one another. And that's because we respect one another, and that traces back to our history of just 2 girls, me and my best friend, promising each other that love for each other and to the people that we were going to train will take precedence. It will be first. It will always be the top priority. So going back to the list of values, thanks you guys for tuning in. Another is open learning, so that we become competent as entrepreneurs. And open learning means not discriminating where valuable information comes from, and we learn from anyone, everyone, and we listen. So like I told you, there are promotions that happen from within the team, right? So different pin titles. People here have been working for 4 years, 3 years, and several, and a lot of people are just in different areas in their business. So there are people who have just started yesterday, people who started 6 months ago, people who have been here for a while, but we do not discriminate who we listen to, in that the input of someone who's, say, entry level, like a brand representative, or someone who was a qualifying brand rep, or a brand affiliate that just started a month ago, has the same prestige and the same recognition as someone who is a presidential director or an executive brand director in the business. So everyone gets listened to, everyone has the same recognition, everyone's input is respected. Also, open learning means we don't discriminate whether you're in the team or not, to deem your information valuable. So if I find that your teaching is going to help my business, I will appreciate you for it. And we're not scared to tell one another that we're learning from other mentors. You know, in the beginning, like some of the newbies or the new girls that I train don't know that this culture exists, and they feel like if they learn from somebody else that is not me, that I'm going to get angry, that I'm going to get mad. Therefore, they find the need to ask permission and say, Six, there's this girl in the team that really teaches a lot about running a VIP group, and I feel like there's a lot of information that I need to learn. So is it okay that I learn? Is it okay that I get absorbed into their chat groups? And my answer to that is always yes. Of course, there is this culture where we are open to learn from everyone and anyone. And ego is not a part of it. You know, it's very tempting to just grab the credit. If anyone in the team becomes successful, you know, it might feel good or look good to say, that's the reason. The reason why she's successful is because I taught her or I trained her. I give the credit to myself. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter to any one of us. And that is not priority for any of us to say or to take credit for someone else's success, because why does it matter, really? So ego has no place at the top, and it doesn't matter who learned from who, or your pin title doesn't matter. You will have the same prestige and you will get listened to if you are a brand affiliate, if you are entry-level brand representative, or if you've been here for years and you're executive brand director or brand partner. You will get the same recognition. So that's what I appreciate. That's why we have so much respect for one another, is because we don't care. Quite frankly, I don't even fully believe they understand the power, or if they think there's power behind their titles. Someone who's a brand partner, it's considered one of the it's considered the entry to a six-figure check, right? Once you become like a brand partner in the business, that you're gonna start making these really, really good checks, and therefore you know a lot, and you're considered a mentor, you're considered one of the higher ups. And quite honestly, someone who gets to that position doesn't even know she's there, or doesn't know what it means. They don't know what it means until they read about it or until they watch. So from their perspective, from the team's perspective, everyone here has equal footing. Therefore, everyone needs to be listened to. So that's one of the things that I observe has brought us to where we are. Hi, Tams. Hello, thank you for tuning in. Methuselah, I hope I pronounced that well or pronounced that right. Hi, Mary. Very inspiring. Hope to see you in person. I hope to see you in person too. Are you in the Philippines? There are always Philippine events, so I'm sure we'll meet sooner or later. Okay, so one more thing is being free to make mistakes and being experimental with finding our voice and finding who we are, being self-aware. So I really, really believe in very early on training someone to be independent in the business, because that is the only way you build leverage in your business. We are here to build leverage for ourselves. We are here to cultivate leaders from within the team. And if they don't learn how to find their voice, and if they don't learn who their audience is, and they just basically don't learn who they are, they don't know what their story is, they don't know what their messaging will be, then they will forever be crippled and dependent on who is teaching them. And you will not have been able to get the leverage that will allow you to retire, that will allow you the freedom that you seek, because you're always kind of hand-holding someone who's supposedly already been here for years and should know these things, right? So that process of allowing them to find their voice, unfortunately, that also involves making mistakes and doing the wrong moves, like maybe posting something that turns off their audience, or saying the wrong thing about the product, or saying something that's not within the guidelines of the company. And it is going to be very hard to move and experiment and make mistakes in an environment that penalizes them for doing that, and stifling and not allowing them to experiment and talk about the things they want to talk about the way they want to talk about. So if I'm the kind of leader that says, no, this is the only way that you post, this is the only script that you use, these are the only people that you look for, then there's no way that we could have gotten to 3,000 recruits a month. There's no way we could have gotten to over 50,000 brand affiliates, which I don't even know where I have to talk to my account manager to know exactly where we are. Now I think we are at 60,000 brand affiliates. There is no way, if I hadn't been so open about my frontline leaders, because that's all I had, and then now obviously it's gone above 6 levels, deeper than 6 levels, I mean. There's just no way that could have gone that way. If they were restricted and not allowed to make mistakes. So often this happens when I train my team and I provide, say, scripts to help them out and to help them out with recruiting. I would get feedback that it doesn't sound like them, or it sounds very formal or too formal, and that's not the way they talk to their friends. So my training ends up being changed or tweaked like all the time to the point where they feel like they've seen enough and they want to build their own team training groups, and they train each other in that separate group. And you have to be okay with that happening if you want to breed this kind of culture of people being confident to experiment and find the right formula for them. Because just because something works for you doesn't mean it works for them, especially in this business, because you are training entrepreneurs, you are training leaders who have different personalities, who have different strengths, who have specific weaknesses, who has a specific flair. So what works for you will not work for them. And so it's important to have a healthy and free environment where they can go out, find who they are, tweak your training a little bit, and then say and come back and tell you, oh my God, this worked. And if they say that what they do has worked for them and it's not necessarily something that you trained them about, you celebrate that. You celebrate. At the end of the day, my team's success is my success, because if I may be so bold, if they earn money, I earn money. And that, at the end of the day, is the goal, isn't it? Because they want food on the table. They need a roof over their heads. They need to renovate houses. They need to pay tuition fees. So the end goal here is for them to have that income for the household. And if they have that, then at the end of the day, I earn too. So why wouldn't I encourage them to find the right formula for them? And if that means mine is not a great fit, I accept. But also be gracious when they come back and say, you know what, I tried it my way and it was wrong. So I think you might be right. I think I should try that way first. When that happens, you also have to be gracious and say, oh, I'm sorry it didn't work. Let's go find a brand new way together. And don't say, I told you so. I told you, that's the reason why I said. So don't embarrass people for making mistakes. Don't make them feel ashamed for trying to find their own path, because that's not how you properly breed a culture like this. Okay, so how do you value this quality, and how do you set an example so that your team also implements this? Hi, Roan, very touching and inspiring. I'm glad. Jocelyn, the wonders of replication. Indeed. Hi, Tita Tess, thanks for tuning in. Hi Zany, thanks for tuning in. So having the freedom to make mistakes is one of the things that allow us to also stand out in this very, very noisy world of social media. Because if you really want to stand out, you have to be unique. And there ain't no way this team is going to be unique if they keep copying who I am. So you have to be okay with them experimenting and making mistakes. Another thing that allowed us to thrive is being adaptive to change and quickly adapting to change. So recently, I have been training them a lot on changes in the social media algorithm and Facebook algorithms and Instagram algorithms. And what I appreciate about the team is that when they hear changes like that, they don't get scared. They get excited about creating new types of content and figuring out the new ways to talk, because they're very social media savvy. So if they talk just one way and they do things a certain way for a very, very long time, after a while it gets old. Oh, I've just been posting testimonials on my wall and that's all that I do. I've just been doing this and that for 2 straight years. Is there any way that I can get more creative than this? So when changes happen like that, they get excited, and that's what I appreciate about it. But my promise to them as the leader of this team is when I receive new information on any of these platforms, I have to synthesize information and make it simple, simplify it for them so that when they read the information, they already know what to do as a New Girls leader to change, what to change, how to implement. So, if you want to take that burden away from them of, taking a bunch of information that doesn't relate, you have to simplify, and you want to simplify, please do that, because that has been my promise since the beginning, is I am going to always make it easy, always make it simple for you to train your team, to know what kind of content to create on social media, so that you don't need to make yourself busy with reading articles, but of course they can if they want to. So when changes happen, especially if you want to be on social media 100%, if you're aiming to have an online team and very mobile about your business, expect that changes always happen. And we started in 2015, and let me tell you, from 2015 till 2017, I have revised my training group 2 times, which means my video series have to be changed about 2 or 3 times. And our system or strategy has also been revised 3 times within that time frame. So enter 2017 to 2018, it was brand new. And then they announced changes at the beginning of this year because of the dawn of Facebook stories. So what I used to teach and implement in 2018 doesn't even work this year anymore. So that's how radical these changes happen. That's how quick they happen. And if I'm the kind of leader that becomes very romantic about how we used to do it, we probably wouldn't be here. We probably wouldn't last. I would probably have to be quiet now because there's nothing much happening. But because I have already mentally conditioned myself to adjust to these changes, it's the same kind of culture that was bred in the team. What are the changes, and what does this mean to us as leaders? That is always the mindset. And I can see that exists in the culture because of the kind of questions I have or receive when changes happen. And it's always along the lines of, 6, how do I improve on this? 6, my posts or my content isn't being seen. What do I change? Or 6, how do I adjust my strategy so that I'm more productive, because I'm seeing these changes and I feel like it's affecting me. So it's always along the lines of, what do I change? What do I adjust? And how do I improve? It's not complaining and whining. It's always asking how to be better. And that's an indicator of this culture existing in the team, of appreciating and adapting to change. So do you adapt to change? And how do you set an example to your team so that they also quickly adapt to change? Because if you're a social media influencer and you have a sales team of people you teach to promote on social media, you gotta know it always changes all the time. So last 2 things that I want to talk about that I have observed that exists in the team is respect and integrity. So respect with one another is where kindness, generosity, honesty comes from. So if you have respect with one another in the team, you're never going to bring anybody else down. You're never going to backstab and talk bad about each other. You're not going to cheat on each other with volume. You're not going to just basically do anything that harms the other. So respect and kindness allows us to function like a family. So if anybody, this only happens very rarely, and someone who's new to the culture, if anybody behaves in the way that's toxic or poisonous and harmful to others, very abusive, they get an instant private message from me right away, because I deem it so vital. This is top priority for me, that if anyone treats any of my girls badly, you are going to hear it from me and you are out. I'm sorry if anybody. I have reported my own team before. I've reported them to compliance. I've reported them to corporate if I feel like they aren't behaving right, and treating other people badly within the team. So always respect your team, respect their hustle. Don't invalidate their hustle and their sacrifices. Respect them all the time. And this is the reason why we are honest about each other. This is why we also take criticism constructively, because we don't criticize just to criticize. We criticize you for your benefit, and we pinpoint your proper weaknesses and strengths so that you can improve on certain things. And we don't take that to heart, because we always know that we have each other's back. So this is also the reason why we're very generous with our information, and we don't care to know who knows what we know, or we don't care to know who we are sharing our knowledge to, because we just have respect for one another. Like, so what if you're not in my team? Here's something that can help you, and I hope that's valuable. So that's basically the culture. Integrity too is doing or meaning what you say and doing what you say. So this is where leading by example comes from. It's knowing the value of integrity, just having integrity as a leader. So we will never ever ask our teams to do something we haven't done ourselves. So if it means, the target is $3,000 in volume, or whatever, being promoted this year, we're never going to ask that of anyone if we haven't generated the results ourselves. If I were to tell anyone, you have to spearfish and send your 50 messages a day, just talk to a lot of people, you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm doing that myself. So we lead by example because we value integrity in the team as well. So that's our culture. That's what we work so hard to breed, and that's why I'm also very protective of their minds. And every week I go in and go live, and I give them leadership advice. I give them mindset training, motivational Mondays. That really matters to the team, and that if I skip a few days, they miss it. And it really matters to us as a team that our foundation, our core is strong, that we know what we stand for and we know why we do this, so that when things get difficult, and this is something that I also appreciate, is we had a time, like a few months in 2018, where our second bestseller was taken away in the market for a while because they were reformulating, and our volumes were a little shaky, volatile, and the leaders are freaking out a little bit because we're so used to our numbers being up and up. And this was the very first time they ever experienced something that wasn't stable like that, because our second bestseller was taken away. I, on the other hand, have experienced that before. I've experienced blaming other things, such as my bestsellers being out of the market and freaking out about these numbers, that I know that there are other ways to achieve the volumes that you used to have. But also, what I noticed when that happened, they didn't quit. They didn't just walk out. They didn't just say, screw this, I'm out. And I realized the value of culture in that moment, because they said, you know what, it's difficult, but I know the kind of sacrifice it took to get here. I know how hard I worked to get here, and I know this is my family, and we're gonna make it. So we kind of linked arms and said, we're going to make it through this. It's going to be back. We're not going to freak out. We're going to keep on working hard. We're not going to be desperate in looking where the volume is. We're just going to keep on doing what we're doing, and we're going to make it. And obviously, when the product came back, our volumes were back to normal and improved since then. So when your core and your foundation is set on a very healthy culture like that, less people quit. You find that attrition is very small, and you have kindness and a healthy and a fun. Oh my God, that's most important, is that you're having fun in doing this business, because this business is fun. Can you imagine you're at home on your laptop or your phone all day with your loved ones, with the people you love, with your kids or your sisters, your siblings, your whole family? I mean, how can it not be fun? You're in your home or anywhere working and making money on the internet. That gives you so much freedom to do the things that you love to do. How is that not fun? Why make it toxic, right? So as a leader, really, really look into your culture as a team. Make it fun for them. Make it free. Give them the freedom to explore who they are. So teach them the value of doing what it takes. Teach them the value of open learning and not discriminating on pin titles, where and who their valuable information comes from. Teach them the value, or teach them to have the freedom to make mistakes. Teach them to be adaptive to change. Teach them respect and integrity. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is what got us to our 4th year. So we're very, very young, and obviously there is still a very long road to where we want to be, because it's super early in the game. We're like babies in this business still, I consider. Doesn't matter if we, know a lot about social media, there's still so much to learn. So we really want to thank our families and all of our customers and friends who continue to support us in this business, who say yes as we swim in an ocean of no's. Every day we get rejected in this business, but the people that we love, the people that stand by us, we never forget. We never forget. So thank you for bringing us to our 4th year. The reason why we are successful and thriving is because of your love and support. So thank you so much for joining me on this broadcast. Guys, I really like your input. So if there is anything that you want me to talk about in particular, it can be about leadership, it can be about mindset, it can be about products, or a Q&A on the business. If there's anything that you want me to talk about in particular, send your input to me in the comments, or send a message to the New Girls fan page, and I will consider that as a future topic. So thank you guys, Mayubi, Ish, Susanna, Jerry, Robbie, Janice, Tita Margie. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you again on my next broadcast. Good night.